Hi, I'm Cameron, and I don't just read comics, I love them. On today's episode of Cameron Reads Comics, my friend Jesse Watson and I are going over Firepower Volume 2. This is a Volume 2 episode, so you should really go check out Cameron Reads Comics, Episode 5, where Jesse and I read the prelude of Firepower. We will definitely be referring to that episode in this one. Just a warning, there are going to be full and complete spoilers for Firepower issues number 1 through 6 by Robert Kirkman, Chris Samnee, and Matt Wilson. Remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Cameron Reads Comics, and make sure to collaborate the like and subscribe buttons, as well as leave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Now, here's your episode on Firepower Volume 2. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Cam.
Welcome back to Cameron Reads Comics. This is actually kind of a unique episode because I think this is the first time I've ever done like a volume 2, but not during, it's not back-to-back weeks. So for anyone listening right now, I really recommend you go listen to like episode 5 of Cameron Reads Comics, because we did volume 1 of this series, and like since then it has been published.
I forgot whether we did volume 1, which was the prequel, and then issue 1 together, or did we do a separate episode for issue 1?
No, we did, and I don't say this in the episode, which is so funny, but we did episode 1 of the prelude, and then in the meantime, before that even came out, they came out with the Free Comic Book Day issue number 1, which we went over, which is
in this volume that we just went into.
Yeah.
So this is technically volume 2. The prelude was volume 1.
Yeah, it's volume 2, but technically, if you look at the issue numbers, it says 1 through 6.
I know, and the thing that bums me out about that is if you were going to recommend this book, you couldn't start with this book.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
But it really helps if you read that prelude.
Yeah, and you need it. And you need it to understand like what's going on with Wei Lun and who he is, and
Wei Lun,
Scorched Earth, and all
and the
Temple of the Flaming Fist.
Yep.
You know what? I don't think if I had one grievance, we're just going to dive right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
If we had one grievance, I really don't think I liked how little they introduced Chow Fang.
Yes.
Which is the dude with the mustache.
Chow Fang is introduced in the prequel prelude.
He's there,
but he is, yes, they should have taken at least a page or two to reintroduce you to his character.
Yeah, because I read the prelude volume twice, and like once for the episode, but once for like pleasure, and it was like, okay, I don't understand. Like he didn't have any dialogue, and like there's very like if 1 or 2 panels that were just like, oh hey Chow Fang, you're here now, and I'm like, not enough time for me to get to know a character,
and not enough time for him to take over the Temple of the Flaming Fist and be the leader. Like, I mean, you spend more time with Mao Guang, and why wouldn't Mao Guang take over? Or I mean, he's not a master, but like you had way more time with him.
Yeah, and okay, actually, okay. Before we get into that, actually,
let's back up.
How'd you feel about this book? The 6 issues that we read, how'd you like them?
I love this comic. It's enjoyable for me. I love ninjas.
I know you love ninjas, but that doesn't mean it's like good.
It was good. It's a fun read for me. You know, there's a ninja hit squad.
Yeah, there was a ninja hit squad.
You know what I mean? Like, it's cool.
I like their weapons too.
Yeah.
So you overall enjoyed it. It was just like
it was very short. I mean, it was like I said, dude. I breezed right through it. There was no break in the issues. It was like, it was an enjoyable 10-minute read for me.
Yeah.
Like seriously. But I like this book, and I like Owen, and I like Doug, his son Doug. This is a funny name. Douglas? Doug.
Is that? I remember
his son's name is Doug.
I like that they named their dog Peanut Butter.
Yeah, Peanut Butter, man.
If I had a dog, I'd name it Peanut Butter.
Isn't your dog's name Peanut Butter?
My dog's name is Waffles.
Close enough, buddy.
Waffles and Peanut Butter could be best friends.
They are.
Okay,
Would you eat a waffle with peanut butter on it?
Honestly, yeah.
Sure.
Protein.
Seems a little sticky.
So is syrup.
No, I mean like sticky as in like, you know, you can't really like chew it. You need some milk.
Yeah, exactly. I like in my throat. Yeah. So okay, honestly, I don't have too many questions because I just felt like as I was reading this, it was very kind of straightforward.
Okay, yes, totally straightforward. And so I read issue 1 twice because I didn't just jump to where I like left off. I reread it, and not Mao Guang, the Wei Li. The Wei Li twist.
Wei Lun.
The Wei Lun twist the first time, you're like, oh no, he's scorched earth. The second time, you're like, oh, he's clearly, as soon as he got there, you're like, oh, there's a reason that he flipped. Right away. But the first time when it ended, I was like, oh man, what a twist. But then like, as I was reading it the second time, I was like, this isn't a twist. There's a reason that he changed over to the scorched earth side. You don't get to realize what that is because he gets the shit kicked out of him again. Mm-hmm. Which is a grievance a little bit, man. Like Master Wei Lun.
With a U.
No, I thought it was Lien.
Weilun.
Are you sure?
110% sure.
You wrote it down?
Yes, I think so.
Wei Lun.
Yeah,
Wei Lun.
I wrote Wei Lun.
So Wei Lun got his ass kicked the first time, but it was to bring out Owen's like fire power.
Oh yeah.
You see what I did there? Yeah.
That's literally what it's called.
Literally. And he gets his ass kicked the second time, almost murdered, but he's not murdered. And they you know, the writers say, hey, with the Ninja Hit Squad, like we're way more dangerous when we're not holding back like they were with Owen's family. And then like wham, he gets shanked. But man, he's a master. Why is he so tricky all the time too? Like he just plays. You know what he is? He's the master of playing dead.
He is. He gets murked like multiple times.
Possum style.
I think that
he's the master of possum style.
he you know, I don't know, and like you know what I've realized about Kirkman's writing, and maybe you've been at this place for a while, is like the first time through, it's probably the most enjoyable, euphoric, wow, I don't know where this is gonna go direction, and then upon reading it the second time, it's like I know all the spoilers, and it's fine.
It falls so not flat, but you're like, yes, I should have recognized this the first time around, but you're so like, oh yeah, cool, but he really like you can see that stuff coming, you know? Like,
yeah.
He's pretty one-dimensional.
Yeah, and I know, yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, I want him to be... I guess, you know...
Him as a writer?
I just gotten everything I've wanted from the story already, and so like trying to orient myself to like, I guess, that euphoria.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And that's not his fault. He did his job the first time I read it. Yeah. So... it's still good. It's just like, oh, okay, because I'm all caught up currently on this series in like I read it monthly, and so when I'm rereading the trades, I'm just like I'm rereading it for the second time, and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yes, and I can see how there's not anything special to it. It's very average upon second reading.
Like how
it's fun though.
Yeah, no, it is fun, and honestly, you know, when it comes to collaborative teams, I love Robert Kirkman, and I love the way that he gives the artist and like the inkers and the colorists all time to just shine. Like there's the whole in the second issue, I believe, when the ninja comes, like you see the ninja at the barbecue, you see the ninja as Owen gets in his bed, and then there's a fight scene throughout the house, and there's no dialogue
when they're being quiet.
Yeah, that was amazing. Like I loved that, and I really appreciate that about Kirkman because he just gives these artists like the window to show their capability.
I've never wanted to see something more in live action than that couple of pages.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because they're fighting in the house while his family is sleeping, and they're fighting not in slow motion. They're fighting silently. Like they're trying so hard not to wake anyone up. Mm-hmm. And I just think that would play out really well on like the screen.
Yeah,
like,
I really would.
Two ninjas like fully going at it, but like trying their best to not crash into stuff.
And then they do like the full like tongue in cheek, like he throws his kid's stuffed stuffed toy at him, and then he ends up with like the kid holding it at the end by the time he's sleeping. It was stuff like that I was like, I really like. So
and they always mention, they always go back at the end of things and explain things, because as you're reading it, you're like, what the kid would wake up, right? And his wife, I think her name's Carrie.
It's like
Kelly.
I didn't write that down.
I think it's Carrie. She says like, "Why didn't you wake me up? I would have helped you fight the ninjas." She's a police officer. Mm-hmm. And then something about like the kids not waking up, and he said, "We're trained to be super silent, you know, because as you're reading, you're like, there's no way they'd wake the whole family up." But
how do you like the fact that she's a ninja? Or like not a ninja, but she does kung fu as well.
Well, he's obviously taught her, and you pick that up when he's training his kids.
Yeah.
She's trained, and when she gets the best of him in their sparring session, you can see that she's not used to that. So she's obviously not on his level.
Yeah.
But she is on his level because she's a cop and she will shoot you in the face.
Yeah, she's awesome. Like there's different almost like power dynamics between those two. Mm-hmm. Like and like I would assume are in any marriage, you know what I mean? And so, but with their capability and fighting style, there's a power dynamic too. Like if it's hand-to-hand combat, obviously Owen's the one. But like when it comes to what am I trying to say? Like when it comes to her being like a different figure to the kids, she nails that role and fulfills this like really cool place that Owen can't.
Yeah, Owen. Well, he takes over that once they realize he can throw fireballs.
Yeah,
but he's the antique salesman, and she's the police officer. You know, so Dad's like the fun guy that's like racing you to the grocery store, and Mom's like the one that's going to work stopping the bad guys.
Yeah,
and then come to find out, Dad can throw fireballs out of his hands.
That
I
love how big of a deal they make all of the fireballs too.
Yeah.
Actually, Carrie or Kelly or Kimmy. I don't know.
I think it's Carrie.
I don't know her name.
Let's just call her Carrie.
We're going to call her Carrie, and please don't get mad at us in the comments. So for Carrie, I think I wanted to ask you, how did you feel about the fight, or like air quotes, fight that they had about, I think it's it's not Ling Zan. It's the... Oh, yeah, it is Ling Zan. The girl that Owen fell in love with at the temple.
Mm-hmm, the one that died.
Yeah, that she's dead. How do you feel about her, like, his wife's reaction to her? It's like, I can't be around you when I know you're thinking about her. And then him talking to her about, like, their situation at dinner. How'd you feel about that?
I went through, I felt like I went through the emotions with them, or with Owen maybe, because at first I was like, hey, she can't get mad at him for having loved someone and then lost her. Like you can be jealous of a dead woman.
Yeah.
But really, she's not around. She's not a threat. There's no threat of Owen ever going back to her, So that's the thing that strikes you at first. You're like, hey, she shouldn't be mad. And okay, fine. She has the right to feel some way that he's thinking about her. Sure, no one's going to like that. But then it clearly explains that like days have gone by and she's still mad. She doesn't want to talk to him. And it's not until she goes to dinner where she explains that, like, I've never lost somebody, and, I don't think I'm giving you, like, a fair shake. I don't know what you're feeling. But then she also goes kind of back as they're sitting there at dinner. They kind of go back and forth. But I do like the way that Owen explains to her, like, what we had was an island, and I didn't see the mountain underneath. We were sitting in a perfect situation because I never had to have children. I never had to sit in the ER with my kids. I never had to, go pick out furniture with her. Like, we had this perfect situation because we were never dealt anything else. So I think that he explains and gets out of that very well. But it just was kind of flip-floppy for me, where I was like, she didn't understand, and then she did understand, and then she didn't understand again. But it was fine. I mean, I didn't hate it.
I like how he says, like, what her and I had was like very special, but what you and I have is more real. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, great dialogue, great beat for them. And it's also too, I think, very similar to Invincible, another Kirkman property. But I feel like it's almost like Debbie Grayson, where she's like, she's trying to make sense of this whole world of ninjas and secret cults and like fake dragons that apparently are real. She's trying to make sense, and it's like, how do you feel as a partner? Like, you could stack up against something like that, and then this dream girl that existed. It's like, it makes sense, all of her frustration.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. I agree. Like, but like I said, the first thing you're like, man, well, you can't really get mad at a dead person, or you have every right to get jealous, but like, where does the jealousy really realistically end in your head if you're thinking like that? Like, oh, my partner has had this love that they lost. Like, there's never a threat of them going back to them.
Yeah. I feel that. So wait, how'd you feel about the twist of, or I guess it's a twist, and we talked about it earlier, but like Wei Lun being a member of the Scorched Earth clan, or officially now a member of the Scorched Earth?
Well, the first time I read that first episode, good God, man, we are too episodic TV stuff for me the last couple episodes that I can't go back to saying issues. The first issue, at first I was surprised, but then upon second reading, I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, even before he was like, there's a reason why I switched. So then I guess for me, more reading it, the later issues, the first time the twist was him actually flipping for a reason, which I don't know yet because he had to fight the ninjas. You know, it went, oh, he's bad. Oh, no, he's not. Just kidding. He's good. Scorched Earth are the good guys. Right?
Yeah.
They could have pulled that one out a little bit longer.
I think so too.
I like that Owen saw, he was like, man, I missed you. Where you been? And then saw the tattoo and was like, motherfucker, now we're fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a fun little panel.
It was those were all like super crazy moments.
Actually, my favorite was when he was going through the fighting styles that he was doing. It was like, you know, the way of 1,000 fists.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was like, you know, it was hey, I taught you this one. So-and-so taught you this one. And he's doing it as he's fighting his master. And then he throws the fucking uppercut.
Yeah.
And just like smashes his face. And then his wife's like, oh, I taught him that one.
Yeah.
Basically, the cheap shot was mine.
I love that.
But I love that he tagged him with it. You know?
Yeah, and there's something too about that. Number one, that was also mirroring like the prelude when he was doing that when he got to the mountain,
right?
And so, but like also Wei Lun shows so much respect towards Owen as he's fighting that way because he's like, oh, this maneuver is very like wild, but you really polished it. You know, it's like, oh wow, like it's those kind of things. I was like, ooh, I just really appreciate that because he has so much respect for Owen, and I like that. Wei Lun is always just like this tongue in cheek master. I think that's the exact word because he's just like, you think you know, you don't know anything, but he has this respect towards Owen that is so like earnest, and I don't know. I'm really into that.
He's the best character. And I was like, fuck, man, I hope he's not dead.
Wait, he's not.
He's not, because they show you the little eye. He's so fucking good. He's like laying there all dead, like, tongue out, you know, and then his eyes, his eyes are open like you would be if you were dead, like, and someone hasn't shut your eyes yet. It's like eyes open, right? And the next panel, like, his eyes shift upwards.
How do you feel?
Kill those motherfuckers, please.
I just love him. I'm like, he'll never die. Like, or if he actually does die, because I'm sure by the end of the series, if it goes like whatever 100 issues, he will die. But it's the most deserved and gnarly, honorable death.
It better be.
It'll be like,
who gets his shoe collection? Does Owen get to inherit his shoe collection?
Is it the same size? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, they probably aren't.
He's
a little old man.
I was thinking about Owen, like him taking Owen's iPod and listening to. He's like, "Oh, I'm so glad Radiohead came out with more music." I'm just like, "You rule."
Yeah, he does rule.
Like,
he really does.
He just needs to talk about like listening to Wu-Tang or Czarface, and I would die.
Oh yeah, Wu-Tang would be more in the wheelhouse though of like him knowing because he lives on a mountain and might not be familiar with the newer artists.
I love him. Well, okay, wait. How did you... I actually have a speculation question on two characters because as I reread this, I didn't realize, you know, because sometimes, and you may feel this way, but when I'm reading them, I'm rushing through them because it's so beautiful and also it's so fast-paced, you know what I mean? And so reading it the second time always helps me just kind of resolve my questions and whatever I got going on as I'm rereading it. And even for the future stuff, it kind of helps set up. You know, you can see the ramifications coming from these earlier issues. So my question is, like, how do you feel about, like, what do you think are Ma Guang's intentions as he is a part of, you know, still the Temple of the Flaming Fist? Do you think he's fully evil? Because I really don't.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think that he sees what Chao Fang is doing. I think he believes that Chao Fang, him trying to get Owen back, I think was a real attempt to get him back as a friend and as a, hey, we need you back. Even though they didn't explain, Mao Guang didn't explain really why they needed Owen back so bad. Yeah. Other than Chao Fang needing to kill him.
Yeah, and he didn't say that to Owen.
Like, what was Mao Guang's, that's the one, like, question mark. Was like, what would Xiao Fang tell Mao Guang? Xiao Fang tell Ma Guang why he needs Owen back. Like, what's the urgency?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm just, I don't even recall, because it's like, remember too, Owen didn't want to talk. Like, Owen's biggest hesitancy, I think when they met at the football field, they were like, oh, things are really bad. Like, Wei Lun is dead.
I don't think he said that. He's gone. He left.
Oh, he left. He disappeared.
Yeah.
And we just need to figure out what happened to Ling Zan. And I know that we all thought you killed her, whatever it be. And Owen, that was his number one reason to, like, I'm not going back. Like, you guys know I didn't do it.
Yeah, and he said Xiao Fang.
Yeah.
That's his name, right? Xiao Fang. I've said it 10 times.
It's hard.
But then when the ninjas come and fight him in his house, he's like, now you see the urgency of why we need you back. Like, that's why I attacked you in your own house. And I'm just wondering what his, like, reasoning, what was the reason whoever, you know, the Dragon Clan or whoever gave him to go get him. What's the urgency? And like, the scorched earth is still coming?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. Well, I think it probably has something to do with the dragon.
Well, you know, if you've read more than I have.
No, I really don't. Because you know, and this isn't super spoilers, but like, he does end up starting to go back, but they've kind of gone in a different direction. They'll pick up these pieces, but like, what happens is really, it's more of like him starting to go back. But also, I think with what you and how he writes, how Kirkman writes,
yeah.
It's very much like, not a lot happens in every issue, but like, there is some key plot detail revealed. So I'm on we read issue 6. I'm on issue 11, I think. Mm-hmm. So that being the case, I'm not, I guess by the time this is released, I won't be all caught up, but, reading that and going through it, I'm just like, I don't really quite know what.
Is the dragon a good guy or a bad guy?
I haven't even met the dragon.
Okay, but correct me if I'm wrong. The Scorched Earth is trying to destroy the dragon.
Yes.
And the flaming fist balls are trying to protect him.
Yes, and you know what I think, as we were talking, I think Owen is the dragon. He's the only one who can freaking wield the firepower. And if we haven't seen...
Yeah, you know, they drew a panel really bad, too. When the kids were fighting the Ninja Clan, and the clans, like, or the Dragon Clan, they're like, that's cute, kids. His daughter attacks that woman, and as she attacks that woman, Owen comes in, but you can't see him, and he throws a fireball. Yeah. And the way that they placed the fireball was over his daughter's foot, so it looked like she was throwing a fireball out of her foot.
Yeah.
So for a second, I was like, oh, his daughter can do it, too. How cool. Nope, never mind. That was Owen.
Yeah.
And it was just they shouldn't have drawn it like that, because it made you. It doesn't really matter.
We're talking one page. We're chilling.
It was one panel. It wasn't even a page.
You know what? And there's always room. I don't think he's the. How's this? I think he. Just for all intents and purposes, he is the chosen one. I just think.
Yeah.
Obviously, in whatever capacity that means.
But then what's in the fucking dragon room?
I think he's
a picture of Owen.
I think he's there. Yeah, I think he's the dragon. And I think the dragon room is a myth, because I'm like,
that's a good theory. I like that.
You're the only one who could wield the firepower, and so I think it's going to be this whole thing. Like, in a Kirkman level story, would we be surprised if Owen has to, like, pretty much fight off his mentor? You know what I mean? Secretly Wei Lun's trying to get in with Owen so that he could kill him. You know what I mean? And then maybe Xiao Fang. Like, I think the lines of each side are so gray.
Yeah. No, but see, that's sticky, because Xiao Fang was trying to protect Owen. Why would he say he was trying to kill him?
I don't know.
But it was funny, because he said, like, we need him to come back here so we can kill him, but keep him safe until he comes back so we can kill him?
Yeah, they wanted to bring him back alive. Maybe there's some sort of like baptism by fire thing like they're going to do. But also, I don't know. I literally I was like, maybe that's the case when I was reading. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe. I was just speculating.
Sure.
Okay, and then I have more questions. The next one is, how'd you feel about the relationship with Owen and his father? It was very brief, but we had some time with them together, and I think that's really important, considering like some of our favorite moments with Ma Guang and Owen were founded in lessons, or my favorite moment in the prelude was like kind of founded in what his father had, instilled in him.
Yeah.
And so how did you feel about those relationships?
I like the story that his dad tells, that he tries to tell him about the monk.
Yep.
The monks and the elephant, because it's like any dad story where they're telling you the story, but they don't know all the details.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 monks. Maybe it's 5 monks. And as he's telling the story, he's like, no, definitely 3 monks. It's just, it was such a good dad story. And, he spins this whole web of this monk and elephant stories to just tell him at the end of the story, just go talk to your fucking wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I love that Owen went to him for advice. Like, hey man, I need to ask for my dad. It's his adopted dad, obviously, because his real dad was the scorched earth guy.
Oh, I forget that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
Yeah, because he's like a white dude. And
You're totally
he's
right.
fucking Owen's Chinese, man.
I totally forgot.
Yeah.
I knew that, but I was like, oh, that's his real dad. Like,
No, it's his adopted white father.
It's his adopted father. So
and that's whose house that they show up at, right?
Yes, at the very end.
Yeah. Okay. But that was a great like bonding moment where you see that even though it's his adopted father, it's still his father, and he's got this dad story and go talk to your wife, and I enjoyed that. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. It was good. I just thought like those.
I love that you read things twice too, and you still missed it.
Oh, I just forget. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah.
I forgot.
Well, because
Owen's Chinese.
It's been a long time. You know what?
His dad, Carl Johnson. His name's Owen Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Carl Johnson.
Yeah.
His dad. Like, come on.
I would just, literally, I just realized like. After I read something, especially in the world of the podcast, after I read something, I'm just like, okay, on to the next week. I have another episode coming out. And so my retention is just gone.
Yeah, it's fine. I also really enjoyed when Wei Lun was reintroduced and he says Owen's full name again and he just goes, yuck.
Oh, I know.
Your name sucks, dude.
Yeah, he's like trying to insult him as he's still like fighting him. Yeah.
Yuck, your name, Owen Johnson.
How'd you like the little like, what's her face is Carrie's partner being a part of like Wei Lun's crew.
Yeah, man, that's just Kirkman like trying to give you like, ooh, look at that, but you're like, whatever.
I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was great.
Yeah.
It was cool, but did they kill him? They killed him.
No, he's not dead yet.
He looked over at Wei Lun and at the end she's like, don't look at him, look at me.
Yeah, and that was it. That's all we know. So whether or not he dies,
yeah,
we don't know. Yeah, no, pretty much all I can say about the next couple volumes or like the next issues, it's like really about the family being on the lam.
The real star of the whole show is the tree in their yard.
Why?
Because the ninjas hid there, and then the Dragon Clan hid there. Like it's like maybe you should trim that tree in front of your bedroom window because a bunch of ninjas keep hiding in that motherfucker.
That is so funny. Oh wait, we didn't even talk about how do you feel about the fighting, the whole fight scene with like the gnarly dinner fight scene with the 5 super ninjas.
Like you were saying earlier, man, you really have to like it goes so fast that you almost have to read the page and then go back and re-look at the page because the fight scenes in this book are so much more fast paced than any other action scenes because it's karate and kung fu and things just move around so quick that you're like eyes are naturally just darting down the page that it's nice to I think that you should kind of go back and re-look at what just happened. I liked the fight scene in the kitchen better with the kids.
How'd you feel about
the kids are trying, and Doug's like, I don't care, and he whaps him with the sword and he's bleeding and he's,
I was like,
and then he shanks that chick.
How'd you feel about the freaking one of my favorite scenes in the book was when the little kid, whoever Joey Tyler was like, he went up and he's like, I'm scared and I don't like this.
Yeah.
So
I'm tired of hiding. Let me go. And they're like, who the fuck is this kid?
I'm like, oh my gosh, how'd you feel? I loved that.
Then they were about to kill him. They're like, that's not one of his kids. He's expendable. Like, we can wax him if you want. And then, that part when he's like, can I go? And then he's in the back of the car and they're speeding away. And he's like, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, where are you taking me? And they're like, oh shit. And they just stop the car and let him out. And he's just standing in the middle of the street like, I guess I'll go home now.
Yeah, like great character. Like I really like him and just him being around.
If there's a way to get rid of your daughter's boyfriend though, that's it.
That's how you want to do it.
Yeah, man. Like let the ninjas come in and scare the shit out of him.
Oh my gosh. he's like, because that's exactly how I would react if I was in that situation.
Yeah. Can I leave, please?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't.
I'm scared and I want to go home.
I'm like, yeah. And literally, number one thing would be like, I don't like this. So, okay, I guess I have like 2 more questions.
Yeah, this is a short little read, so I didn't
Short
expect
little
this
read.
to go too long. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so number 1 is who in this volume. I think you already said it, but who's your favorite character?
Well, I mean, Wei Lun's always going to be
Yeah.
like the top dog because he's just so, like you said, tongue in cheek, hip hop, streetwear
He's
master.
so cool.
He's cool. He wasn't around long enough. I mean, you know what? Let's say that Owen's wife. I like Owen's wife the best.
She was great.
She has a big part, and I think that she's a great character. I like her a lot.
I didn't even think about my answer to this question yet.
It doesn't matter.
Ooh, I want to say. You know what? I really
I'm
do.
like, your opinion doesn't matter.
I'm like, it's true. I'm like, that's so. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I think that Ma Guang actually in this volume briefly was. Because I think I would love to see more of a window into him and Owen's relationship. Because I thought Ma Guang in the first volume was the most compelling just arc for Owen. It's just like, this guy's a dick. Right. Owen's showing him grace. Then he has. Then you see them hug and grieve together, and then
I like that.
Yeah, and Owen says that was one of my favorite moments. Yeah, and then Owen says that there's a point in time when he was like my closest friend.
Yeah,
and
so just. The 2 parallels. The reunion he has with Mao Guang and then the reunion he has with Wei Lun are the same. It's they hug first and then they fight. It was the same.
Oh,
It's
really?
the same thing. Yeah.
Oh yes. I didn't even notice that. And it was my second time reading. How was that?
That's all right.
But yeah,
details great.
I think exactly. I just think Ma Guang and his arc and the nuance to his relationship with Owen is one of my favorite parts in this series, just in general, relationally. And then also, I think, Carrie was just awesome.
And special shout out to Doug, the kid. He's so brave.
He's
bleeding. His whole face is bloody. He's like, pfft.
Yeah.
When he's asking like his sister, or they're talking about his sister, and he's like, man, she's not even bleeding. Like,
yeah,
forget about her.
She's like, are you bragging that you got hit in the head?
Oh man, yeah. Shout out to Doug.
Shout out to Doug. Shout out to Tyler. And then, okay, last question, as always, what would you rate the story out of 10?
Fun read, super quick. Nothing like super compelling for me.
Yeah, nothing bombastic. Or crazy,
like nothing crazy. Reading the first couple guys twice. It's like a 7, like average 7. You know what I mean?
Super cool.
Fun. I love it.
Yeah,
like ninjas, great, but like it's nothing special as far as like the story beats go. You know what I mean? Like the twists, kind of you can kind of see coming. And again, I remember reading the Prelude too, thinking like, man, this is just a ninja version of Star Wars.
It's interesting because it's just like, it's fulfilling this like lack of Avatar content that I'm having right now.
Way better than Avatar too. I mean,
no way.
No, okay, I love Avatar.
Yeah.
A more mature version of Avatar.
It's just like being older, and I'm excited to see other people wield the fire power because I'm 100% sure that's going to happen.
Sure, like he can teach people to start using it, especially his family.
Or even like he's in a battle with someone, like mid battle, he gets a fireball thrown at him. I'm excited to see that. Like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Street Fighter.
Exactly, and that being the case, I'm just really, really, I'm excited to see that. And
gotta have akin to his Ryu.
You're so. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but
come on, man.
I don't want
the same characters.
I don't know who
Mortal
they
Kombat, like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, the same characters. They're just recolored.
Yeah, I was gonna make a Sub-Zero joke, but I couldn't even pull that name.
Yeah.
Wait, Jesse, briefly, what are your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat movie that came out?
It's horrible. It's super fun.
Yeah, but it's just really bad.
Oh, it's so bad.
Like,
they don't take themselves too seriously.
I heard that. I heard it was like one of those like really fun to watch, but like not good movies.
Yeah.
Do you think that it walks that line close enough to get a sequel?
Yeah, sure. I'll watch a sequel for sure.
But do you think
it sets one up? Sets one up for sure.
It sets one up. Do you think it'll go that? Because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, sure, man. And Jared said it too when we were doing our Invincible review. He said, if the movie's 90 minutes long, we need to have 80 minutes of fight scenes. Like, give us 8 10-minute fight scenes and then give us 10 minutes of dialogue. That movie had, 40 minutes of fighting, which is a good chunk.
Great chunk.
Yeah, but the other like 40 to 50 minutes or hour was like dialogue that was just so bullshit. Like nobody cares. We all know. Like, get on with it.
That's so.
But the fight scenes that they had were okay. super violent. Not as violent as they should have been, but it was all right.
That's too bad. That's always too bad when it's not as violent as it could have been. But I'm still, I think my violence meter after it post Invincible is pretty hooey.
Yeah, man. Invincible was far more violent, especially the whole last episode.
Crazy.
I mean, animated violence for sure, but still violent nonetheless.
Oh, wait, did you rate this out of 10? Did you even give me a score?
I just said 7.
You said 7.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't rate it, and I was like just looking at the question. I give it a. It's hard because it was my second time, so it's a little like not rose colored.
It's average, right?
Yeah, it's average.
Yeah.
Like but I enjoyed every page.
Me too.
Like, so that being the case, I'll give it an 8. Just like I enjoyed every page, and it wasn't bad, and I was just like, all right, like I've read it before, and I still like I think when we got the character beats that were really strong, they were really strong.
Yeah,
and so that being the case, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I give it an 8.
I really enjoyed it too. I'm just here to keep you, grounded.
Humble, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Always. That's what you're here for.
Cameron throwing around the 10s all the time.
Oh my gosh. And I'll do it again.
I know you will.
Everyone's like, I don't.
And I'll underscore you.
I don't understand how people are like, anyways, we don't need to go
whatever.
I'm like, there can only be 1 10. I'm like, that's not true at all.
I didn't say that.
But people feel that way.
I just say 10's perfection. Zero mistakes. It's perfection. Nothing can be changed.
I'm a very emotive grader, so
whatever.
Anyways, thank you so much, Jesse, for being on Cam Reads Comics. For those listening on YouTube, make sure to, number 1, clobber those like and subscribe buttons. If you're listening on iTunes, feel free to leave us a 5-star rating and a review. And make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to have such new content and super cool stuff coming your way there. So we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.